You think you know Hitler? These 10 facts will shock you. You've heard his name 1,000 times. You know the war, the crimes, the mustache. But what if I told you? There's a side of Adolf Hitler that history books barely mention. A failed artist. A drug-addicted recluse. A man obsessed with Disney, and haunted by his own niece's death. This isn't the Hitler you learned about in school. In this video, we're diving into 10 shocking, little-known facts about Adolf Hitler that will change how you see him forever. Some are disturbing. Some are bizarre. All of them are real. So before you scroll away, ask yourself, how well do you really know Hitler? Let's begin. 1. Hitler's early life as a homeless artist in Vienna. Before he became one of the most feared figures in history, Adolf Hitler was a struggling artist with a passion for painting. Born in Braunau am Inn, Austria, in 1889, Hitler moved to Vienna in his late teens with the hope of getting into the prestigious Academy of Fine Arts. He applied twice, in 1907 and 1908, and was rejected both times, being told that his talent was more architectural than artistic. Following these rejections, Hitler's life took a dark turn. He lived in poverty, often sleeping in shelters and flophouses, and selling watercolor postcards to tourists. During this period, he developed a deep resentment toward the multicultural nature of Vienna and began forming the anti-Semitic and nationalist ideologies that would define his future. Ironically, the city that rejected him as an artist would unknowingly help shape the dictator he would become. 2. Hitler wasn't a German citizen until 1932. Despite being synonymous with Nazi Germany, Hitler was not born German. He was an Austrian citizen for most of his early life. In fact, when he moved to Munich in 1913, he did so illegally, technically as a foreigner. For years, Hitler remained stateless after renouncing his Austrian citizenship in 1925 to avoid extradition. This situation created a legal problem for his political ambitions. Non-citizens were not allowed to run for public office in Germany. In February 1932, this issue was resolved when the state of Brunswick offered him a government job that automatically granted him German citizenship. Just a few months later, he ran for president against Paul von Hindenburg, and though he lost the presidency, he was appointed chancellor in January 1933. 3. He was temporarily blinded in World War I and claimed to have a vision. During World War I, Hitler served as a dispatch runner in the Bavarian army and was highly decorated for bravery, earning both the Iron Cross Second Class and, unusually for someone of his rank, the Iron Cross First Class. In October 1918, near the war's end, he was caught in a mustard gas attack near Ypres, Belgium. The exposure caused temporary blindness, and he was sent to a military hospital in Pasewalk. There, bedridden and disoriented, Hitler claimed to have experienced a moment of spiritual awakening. He later described it as a revelation that he had been chosen to save Germany. Many historians consider this one of the formative psychological moments of Hitler's life. The combination of Germany's defeat and his own physical suffering may have contributed to the intense nationalism and messiah complex that defined his later leadership. For Hitler may have had only one testicle. One of the more curious and often ridiculed rumors about Hitler is that he suffered from monarchism, having only one testicle. Though long dismissed as propaganda, evidence has emerged that may support this theory. Reports from Soviet autopsies after his death claimed he was missing one testicle, and German doctor Johann Jamber, who treated Hitler during World War I, allegedly made a similar claim, later confirmed by his priest. While no definitive medical proof exists, the consistency of multiple sources adds some credibility. Some psychologists have speculated whether this condition, if true, might have influenced Hitler's notorious insecurities, aggression, and obsession with masculinity. While it remains speculative, the idea continues to fascinate historians and biographers. 5. Hitler was a vegetarian and animal rights advocate. Despite being responsible for the deaths of millions, Hitler personally adhered to a vegetarian lifestyle and strongly opposed animal cruelty. He reportedly suffered from chronic digestive problems and claimed that eating meat made his condition worse. However, his dietary choices also seemed rooted in ideology. Hitler often spoke of the purity and superiority of natural life and saw vegetarianism as a path toward physical and spiritual strength. Under his rule, Nazi Germany passed some of the world's first animal protection laws, including bans on animal testing, the boiling of lobsters, and hunting for sport. He was also deeply attached to his dogs, especially his German shepherd Blondie, who was by his side until the final days in the Führerbunker. His tenderness toward animals contrasted grotesquely with his policies toward human beings, especially Jews, Slavs, and other minority groups. 6. He had a disturbing relationship with his niece, Geli Raubal. Geli Raubal, the daughter of Hitler's half-sister Angela, moved in with Hitler in the late 1920s. Their relationship quickly became intense and possessive. Though she was much younger, Hitler controlled nearly every aspect of her life, her education, her friends, and even what she wore. Many historians believe their relationship may have been romantic or even abusive, although there is no definitive proof. In 1931, at the age of 23, Geli was found dead in Hitler's Munich apartment with a gunshot wound to her chest, using Hitler's own pistol. Officially ruled a suicide, her death deeply affected Hitler. He reportedly fell into a deep depression and kept her room untouched for years. Some biographers believe Geli's death marked a turning point, after which Hitler became colder, more reclusive, and increasingly obsessed with control and power. 7. Hitler rarely visited concentration camps. Though Adolf Hitler was the ideological architect of the Holocaust, he rarely, if ever, visited the concentration camps where millions were murdered. Instead, he allowed others, like Heinrich Himmler and Adolf Eichmann, to handle the logistics and execution of the genocide. This deliberate distance may have been strategic. By removing himself from the physical atrocities, Hitler maintained a layer of abstraction between himself and the crimes. This helped reinforce his image as a visionary leader rather than a war criminal in the eyes of his followers. Yet make no mistake, Hitler was the driving force behind the Holocaust. He gave the orders, shaped the ideology, and empowered the machinery of death. His absence from the camps does not make him any less responsible, it only shows how efficiently he delegated mass murder. 8. Hitler enjoyed Disney cartoons and Charlie Chaplin. It might be hard to imagine, but Hitler had a soft spot for American cartoons and silent films. According to several accounts from his inner circle, he enjoyed watching Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and was impressed by the animation techniques used by Walt Disney. He was also fascinated by Charlie Chaplin, especially the 1936 film Modern Times. Ironically, Chaplin would later parody Hitler in The Great Dictator, a film Hitler reportedly watched but never commented on. These seemingly innocent entertainment preferences highlight the bizarre duality in Hitler's personality. Even as he plotted global conquest and genocide, he found joy in children's animations and slapstick comedy, further emphasizing the disturbing disconnect between his public persona and private interests. 9. He became dependent on a dangerous drug cocktail. In the later years of his rule, Hitler's health began to decline rapidly. He suffered from tremors, insomnia, digestive problems, and likely neurological disorders. His personal physician, Dr. Theodor Morell, prescribed him an alarming mixture of drugs, amphetamines to boost energy, barbiturates for sleep, cocaine eye drops, laxatives, hormones, and even animal-based steroids. By 1944, Hitler was taking more than 70 different medications regularly. Some historians believe this drug regimen worsened his paranoia, indecisiveness, and erratic behavior in the final years of the war. Footage from his last public appearances shows him shaking uncontrollably, possibly a symptom of Parkinson's disease, amphetamine addiction, or both. The once fiery orator had become a frail, trembling figure dependent on chemicals and increasingly divorced from reality. 10. He wanted to build a museum for the extinct Jewish race. One of the most disturbing and lesser-known Nazi plans was the creation of a museum in Prague dedicated to what they called the extinct Jewish race. As part of this plan, the Nazis looted tens of thousands of Jewish cultural artifacts, Torah scrolls, prayer books, ceremonial items, and stored them in the Jewish Museum of Prague. The idea was to preserve these relics not out of respect, but as trophies of genocide. Hitler envisioned a place where future generations would visit and learn about a people that had been completely wiped out. This grotesque plan illustrates the cold, calculated nature of Nazi ideology. The Holocaust was not just about killing, it was about erasing a people from memory, history, and existence. The fact that the museum was partially prepared but never opened remains a haunting reminder of the horrors that were narrowly avoided. Conclusion. These 10 facts shed light on a man who was more than just a tyrant. He was a bundle of contradictions, a vegetarian who caused mass death, an animal lover who despised human diversity, a failed artist who manipulated millions. Understanding these lesser-known aspects of Adolf Hitler doesn't make him any less monstrous, but it does make our understanding of history more complete, more human, and more chilling.